Welcome to the Great Distraction.
How's it going, everyone? This is A Great Distraction, and today the topic of discussion is sleep. My name is Ben, and with me today are my co-hosts Thomas,
How's it going?
Glenn,
Hello.
and Shane.
How's it going?
Thank you for joining us. The Great Distraction is a podcast that focuses on a vast and a random range of topics, and we hope that each episode leaves you with, if nothing else, something to ponder. As always, we would love to hear from you guys. Questions, comments, and topic suggestions are always welcome. You can contact us on Facebook or by email at greatdistractionpodcast@gmail.com. Sleep is something I never get enough of. I think I'm not alone.
You're one of those poor souls that has to get up at like 4:30 in the morning, right?
5 every
Five,
morning.
okay,
And that's
5.
actually not early enough because with
That's not
commutes
early.
and
Oh my
this,
God.
that, and the other. And then I found that there's like this delicate balance between if I wake up too early, you can almost like, you don't get like this REM sleep. So you can like
Right.
kind of snap out of it. You're like, wow, I feel kind of rested, but really you're exhausted, right? You can do that for a few days and then you crash, right? But then if you sleep, if you don't wake up early enough, you just drag ass. So now it ends up taking you longer. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Can't win.
No, you can't. So I've tried
win this
4:30 and I've tried everything from 4:30 to 6, and it's just. But then you also pay for 2. If you would go later, your commute's longer because there's more traffic.
Oh, yeah, true.
You can't win, man. You can't win. Or the boss isn't happy what time you're coming into work.
Yeah. Oh.
Whatever it is. Go ahead.
Oh, no.
Sorry. What is sleep? Let's. I wanted to throw a definition out there to kick this topic off because when I was reading the definitions, I believe this was Merriam-Webster's. I thought it was kind of like, wow. First of all, that is a very long-winded sentence, so bear with me. Second of all, damn, that does actually a decent job of encompassing a whole lot more than I considered sleep to encompass, if that makes sense. So let me read it to you. You tell me what you think. The natural, easily reversible periodic state of many living things that is marked by the absence of wakefulness and by the loss of consciousness of one's surroundings is accomplished by a typical body posture, such as laying down with the eyes closed, the occurrence of dreaming, and changes in brain activity and physiological functioning, is made up of cycles of non-REM sleep and REM sleep, and is usually considered essential to the restoration and recovery of vital bodily and mental functions.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty
Right?
good
I mean,
synopsis of it.
Damn. Synopsis is a better term than just definition, right? Because it's like, that talks about a whole lot of things. And especially what I wanted to kind of use that definition to segue into the next section here was that last part. Considered to be essential to the restoration and recovery of vital bodily and mental functions.
Absolutely.
Unless you've really done some reading, and you don't have to do a lot because it's pretty surface stuff, but if you have never done any reading into sleep in general, you may not know how much goes on in our bodies when we sleep and how, rather than just feeling rested, I mean, your body is literally healing itself physically, and at the same time, the brain is doing all kinds of crazy stuff that directly affect your ability to learn, your memories, both short-term and long-term, and just the general mental health that gets restored during this time. It's ridiculously crazy to think about. I mean, you're just thinking
A lot's going on.
a lot is going on, and that's not even talking about dreaming and breaking down, or movements in sleep and all kinds of things like that. That's just the whole general concept of going unconscious and passing out for however long you're lucky enough to stay that way.
Recalibration.
That totally, man. So that segged us into what I wanted to talk about first, which is why do we need it? And the first thing I wanted to throw out there is there has been a lot of research on this for decades, but there is no clear, straightforward answer that explains why we need sleep. Actually, similarly with dreams, we know that we need it, so that much at least has been determined. We also know a lot of the benefits, things that are specifically having on a biological and what's the term for
Physiological.
Physiological. I guess I should just use that one.
Psychological.
Yeah, even that too. I think it does affect that too.
It absolutely
So we
does,
know
yeah.
what's going on. We don't know everything that's going on, but they know what's going on in those areas. So we definitely know benefits to why we need it and how important it is. But we don't know why it has to be that way. And one of the things I kind of started talking to the guys about when we were discussing this topic was it had always kind of annoyed me that, well, I don't know, maybe annoyed is not that's too strong a word. It has always perplexed me that we haven't found a way to beat the need for sleep. Why haven't we found a way to generate what we need consciously, maybe, or by some other means, maybe a supplement or some other source of energy or...
So it does annoy you because
It
you are
annoys
trying to
me. It annoys
bypass
me.
it because you're trying to use that time for something else.
Damn right.
And it annoys you that you have to sleep.
I still haven't gone through Game of Thrones yet, man. I need more time to binge my shows.
It needs more time for VR porn.
So I think the real situation that you're running up to is we don't understand all the mechanics that are present with sleep yet. There's still a lot we do not understand. And if we're trying to get around it, we need to truly understand
What it is.
what it is, what is happening, why we need it.
Yeah. Let me add to that. This I believe I pulled this off the wiki page for sleep, and I thought it was kind of a good little synopsis here of what's happening in the physical or physiological aspect of it, not the. Okay, well, I'll just read it here. During sleep, most of the body's systems are in an anabolic state, helping to restore the immune, nervous, skeletal, and muscular systems. 4 systems they broke that down to. These are vital processes that maintain mood, memory, and cognitive function, and play a large role in the function of endocrine, I don't know how to pronounce it, endocrine, and immune systems. And we know, most of us know what your immune system is for, I mean, generally, even if you don't know the deep specifics of it, but the endocrine system is made up of glands that produce and secrete hormones, chemical substances produced in the body that regulate the activity of cells or organs. These hormones regulate the body's growth, metabolism, the physical and chemical processes of the body, and sexual development and function. So that old saying, I'm too tired?
Lol.
Damn.
What
She was
is
telling the
interesting
truth.
to me in all of that is people point out, that it degrades your immune system. So you're going to get sick. You could.
You're not as healthy as you could be.
Right. And that's the one thing that most people point out. But when I read that, and it's like your muscles, your skeletal system, your cognitive function, that's pretty much your entire you.
Your entire
like
being,
your
your entire physical
entire
being.
you is degrading if
Yeah.
you don't sleep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's no joke, too. I'll get into it when we get a little further down here. I can't remember. I was trying to see if I could just pull that note up right here. I have to wait till I get down to it. I can't find it. But anyway, there's like many studies and lots of proof that shows you increase your risk of pretty much everything that kills us, like everything. And I have a list here. I'll get to it later. But in some cases, up to doubling your risk for everything that kills you. It's just like
Well, your
going without
immune
sleep.
system is the biggest thing. I mean, think about when you get sick. What do people do immediately when you get sick?
Go to bed.
Go to bed. Take it easy. Take some drugs, pass out, sleep it off.
Get rest.
Anything that ails you, when you have a hangover, what's the best thing you can do? Sleep it off. All these things. The body it's a natural existence for our body to exert an amount of energy to do a task or tasks that we have as a day, but we need to recharge and regroup on that. And when we were more closer to being Earth citizens, I would say, like Glenn and I have talked about before, where we were more in touch with the Earth, we went to sleep when the sun went down.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a natural thing for us. And now we have artificial lighting and all these other things to change our ability to exist or stay awake.
Yeah.
That's also affecting our sleep.
Oh, yeah.
If when the sun went down, we went to sleep like people used to do 300 years ago, I don't know what it was like 300 years ago, but maybe people got better sleep or they were more rested. They weren't so preoccupied with the modern world.
And I think this was on the wiki as well, is that since the invent of the ambient light, it has greatly impacted when people sleep.
And worse than that, this new technology with the wavelengths we're able to produce now with blue and white LED, those particular wavelengths are the worst. The
blue one's really
blue
bad.
one is the worst of all the colors. So yeah, if you don't know, blue light, that particular
daylight.
wavelength blocks melatonin production from your brain. So it literally keeps you awake and keeps you from feeling sleepy. And that's why they actually sell blue lights that people can put on their desk when they're feeling tired. Like, no, Joe, you can go to Amazon, buy a blue light. And that's what they're for. It's to produce that wavelength and shove it in your eye hole so you can hopefully stay awake.
I'm the only one with eye holes.
They call it daylight because it's the same color temperature as daylight.
It's one of the wavelengths from daylight because true daylight has all wavelengths. It's the full spectrum in there or whatever. But this particular wavelength they found to be the most the strongest for blocking the production of melatonin and making you feel sleepy. I forgot where I was going to go with that after that, but I wanted to touch on what you had, Thomas had said about on energy conservation. Kind of like bears hibernate. That's one example of a more natural reason why entities will sleep for long periods of time. The other thing, I was reading one of the another little quip from an anthropologist, I believe it was, and their angle was that it is possible that humans evolved or started sleeping a third of their life away or more to conserve energy. Kind of like if you think about a hummingbird who spends all of its time looking for nectar because it takes that much to keep those wings beating all day, every day as it wants to move around and do the other things it needs to do, like mate and feed its young and make a nest and find a mate and all this other crap it has to worry about, right? Maybe we sleep just to give us a break as a part of our fit into this 24-hour cycle, into this living on this planet, in order to give us some relief.
Well, you mentioned conserved energy too. So if food is not as available, you're going to have more downtime because you have less to sustain.
And harder to find when it gets dark.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just, well, shit, we don't know what else to do with you, so we'll make you conk out for a bit. We'll give you some other stuff to do while you're conked out, and then then you'll be fine once the sun comes up and go back to being looking for bugs and shit. Awesome. So I already asked, why can't we find a substitute for it? I think I don't know. You guys got anything else to add to that?
Well, aside from needing to understand the mechanics, it seems to me that sleeping is a ingrained bodily function. It's like moving your arm or your leg or any other part of your body. If you could just take a supplement to operate your body for you, it seems like we're getting further away from
We're getting
being
closer to the
human.
Matrix,
Human.
dude. We're getting closer to the
Right.
Matrix.
We're becoming robots. Transhumans? Would that be a transhumans?
Transhumans.
Oh, boy.
If you haven't heard our transhumans episode, find it. Yes. See,
Yeah.
maybe that's what if there's my transhumanist.
Right.
How do I say that? My transhumanism coming through.
Something like that.
I'm tired of sleeping. I'm tired of eating too, by the way.
But I mean, and anybody who has a physical labor job can tell you that at the end of the day, all you want to do is sit down and take a break and relax. Your muscles are tight. Your tendons are tight. I mean,
That's right.
You're just wore out. I mean, if you do what would we consider an honest day's work, at some point your body needs
what
to
are you trying to
recover
say?
from
Yeah,
that.
I get no respect.
You just can't keep doing that.
Well, if you're a politician, it's never an honest day's work,
dude, it's all about the siesta.
Oh, man.
right? And that's the thing too. Eating, like humans, I feel like, and as having traveled a little bit around the world and seeing how some other cultures handle their things, like this, the siesta is a prime example. We as Americans, we're in such a go culture that we don't take time to heal our own bodies and let ourselves become healthy entities. We're always sick. We're always having problems. The eating thing, what do we do at work? We eat as fast as we can because we got a half-hour lunch, and then we rush back to work and start working again. You're not supposed to swim for 30 minutes after you eat. Why should I go back to work 30 minutes after I eat?
That's such an old wives' tale, dude. Stop it.
It's not a wise tale because your body has to digest things. If
But
you
it
want to
doesn't
stay,
necessarily give you cramps for doing it.
it can. It absolutely can. And another thing about eating as well is your body. If you want to get, if you're cold and you're freezing, you're trying to get warm. One of the easiest ways to raise the temperature of your body is to eat food.
Oh, yeah.
Because your body warms up to process the food.
Yeah, when I gorge myself at the buffet, I'm all
Right.
sweating when I come out of there.
Yeah, and you want to sleep too.
And I want to go to sleep, yes.
You got the meat sweats.
So gross.
Nasty.
Oh, man, that's brutal. I was going to say something. You just messed me all up with the... I was just picturing
You're picturing meat sweats?
picturing like some huge dude's belly just sweating, dude. Like, what was that one movie with Will Ferrell? And he was playing basketball, and his face just rubs up against that guy's sweaty chest.
Was that Will Ferrell?
Maybe it wasn't. I can't remember.
No.
It was brutal, whatever it was. After
know
I
what
saw
you're
it, I
talking
instantly wanted to forget it.
It was the guy that was the insurance broker or whatever. He was an insurance guy, but he was afraid of everything.
Oh, he was a germaphobe, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Anyway, whatever. It was so gross. That's what I was picturing. That, but a really big hairy belly, just sweating, dude, from all the bacon, dude.
Sweat and grease.
Oh man, that's disgusting, dude. Stop it.
All right.
Okay, so why we need it? Sure. There's lots of different reasons, and but no real like solid. This is really what's going on here. Just a lot of the underlying cause and effects.
Aside from not getting it will kill you.
Like no joke. And if
Faster
you have,
than food.
yeah, and if you
Apparently.
yeah, so we were talking about that earlier. That we had heard that we had read. One of us had read.
Well,
that,
sleep deprivation can kill you faster than food deprivation. And as we were talking before, I'm sure that's the difference of like drinking water. Because if somebody goes on like a hunger strike, they're still drinking water. You can only go 3 days, 4 days max
what I heard.
without water, something
That's
like
what I
that.
read, yeah.
So that's the different. But but sleep deprivation can make you. I mean, it can hurt you pretty bad. You stay awake for 36 hours, or if you just want to experiment with it sometime, stay awake for 2 days. Try to stay awake for 2 days and see, and let somebody else pay attention to you. And your basic functions are terrible. You can't keep things together. There's a lot of people, famous musicians and things have always had these, like Prince was a prime example. Prince took a lot of very strange drugs that he got during his life to stay awake because he felt like it increased his creative productivity. Sort of like doing heroin or another drug. Like a lot of people think that it's going to open their mind and they're going to have these
Well, you
creative...
do hallucinate off of it.
Well, they do
so-
hallucinate off of it, so you have these creative functions or whatever. But there's a lot of people who have done that with sleep. Prince was one
I
of
mean,
them.
you hallucinate from sleep deprivation. Is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, exactly. And so he would stay awake for like 3 to 5 days at a time.
Yeah. Tripping balls off,
Right?
off lack of sleep.
Off
Right
a lack of
music.
sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, the longest stretch that I've personally done was 36 hours.
Wow.
I
I think I hit
And-
27, 28, 20, somewhere around there.
Oh, I'm
one
sorry,
time.
not 36, 72.
Oh,
It
was 3 days.
I think I've done 2
shit.
days before.
It was 3 days.
No, I haven't even gone that long.
I just like the 36 number you threw out there. It sounded good.
I think I've done 36. So you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
speaking for me.
All right. Yeah, no, it was 3 days, and midway through that third day, I was seriously dreaming while I was talking to people. It was a very, very strange experience, and I had a hard time falling asleep at that point.
Yeah, so
Like,
you didn't necessarily feel tired.
No.
That was even the 36 hours, because I was pretty busy. I had things that I had to get done in a certain amount of time, so I had to stay up to do it. And nearing the end of that, I was so keyed up that I really did not necessarily feel tired like
No.
I would have expected.
Right. You get kind of strange. Your brain makes weird connections. You'll be looking at something and a dog runs across your vision, and then you're like, wait, where'd the dog go? And there was no dog. You're just
Tripping, dude.
tripping.
Wow.
Your brain is making stuff up, and somebody will be talking to you, and you'll be following the conversation, and then they'll start saying something very strange, which they are not actually saying, but your brain is turning into you are literally starting to dream while you're awake. And
Trippy.
and your sense of reality becomes very thin.
Well, I feel like it could almost be a really like a dance between your subconsciousness and your consciousness sort of blending each other because you haven't had the proper rest that you need, so your body hasn't recharged itself. So it's wanting to cycle back into a different mode, like a dream state or something, and it can't because you're physically awake.
It's trying to recalibrate
Totally
itself
is,
while you're
yeah.
conscious.
Yeah.
Right.
God, that's crazy. Okay, another thing that happens when you sleep that I read a long time ago is when during the sleep process, your short-term memories transfer to long-term memories.
Yeah, and your memories get prepared for long-term storage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I didn't get too much into the science, looking at
Yeah.
the science stuff of that, but yes, I had read that too.
But so that, as we've talked about all the crazy different things that your body actually does while it's sleeping, everything that you do during a regular waking day. At night, like as Glenn was saying, I'm in the same boat. When I try to go to sleep at night, I have a really hard time turning off. It's
Right.
it's hard for me to make that adjustment because I've got so much going on in my brain, and I think a lot of people do, where now their body's not moving around and keeping them busy. Now they're just sitting there with their own thoughts, and you're trying to shut off and retire for the night and recharge, but you can't because all these things are racing through your mind, and that's one of the things that sleep does is it gives your mind a chance to sort of like reprocess and defragment, if you will, some of the day's events and the memories,
Right.
which is super important to your health.
Totally.
Man, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Man, one thing I completely forgot to mention earlier that I just thought of right now. I can't believe I missed it. We also don't know why we yawn.
Well, it feels good, and I can make other people yawn by yawning.
It is contagious too. That has been proven that it is contagious.
I'm
not gonna do
I
it.
already did it.
Yeah. Well, I think if I remember right, yawning has something to do with something to do with oxygen
It's
or
a
something.
sympathetic response. Well, the contagious.
The contagion portion.
contagious.
of it. Yeah, no, I think they understand what's happening when you yawn, but they don't understand why you need to do it. Another one too that's like that's not sleep related, but why we itch. I'm assuming you don't have a rash or some like a healing or a healing, wound or something like that.
You shouldn't have brought her home.
She looked like a clean girl.
Everything looks better on a picture.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, online dating. Never know what you're going to get when you meet her in person. Anyway.
Like buying a used car.
Oh, fuck. That's horrible, dude.
I thought you said this was an 05.
Catfishing, dude.
Right?
No, itching. Yeah, we know what's going on. They assume that the body there's dead skin cells or something else that needs to be kind of scratched off the body, but they don't know why. Why do they have to be removed? Why can't they just chill there or fall off on their own? Or could just rub themselves out.
Hey, you said it.
Maybe that's the itch.
No wonder the girls don't listen to us.
Oh man.
I wanted to add too in that last part.
Does that help you sleep? Helps me.
Well, after the release, your endorphins have been dumped, right? So you're actually more likely to be able to fall asleep.
Sort of a meditation kind of thing.
Yeah.
Meditation.
That is true. I should have added that to my list down here at the bottom. How to help you get to sleep.
Get
Have
laid.
sex. Or if you can't, do it yourself. Okay.
You
I wanted to add
just
to
told the audience to fuck themselves.
Now nobody's gonna
As long as it helps them
That's it.
sleep. I guess that's
it.
what
Our listener numbers are dropping by the minute here.
unless they like that kind of thing.
Unless,
Hey, you know what?
Everyone should love themselves just a little bit.
at least once a day.
It's healthy. All right. If you have said drive, yes. So I want to throw in there too, the longest run we found, I think it was the Guinness Book World Record holder, or I don't remember where the stat came from, but Thomas had found the same thing too, so we both ran across. It was a little over 11 days. They gave the exact minute count, but I can't remember what it was. And it was done in 1965 by a 16-year-old boy.
I wonder what happened to that person.
I think he died.
See
Sleep
that
deprivation.
So when those, so you guys are gamers. When those games came out, where you can play online, you can, some people have died from that, from staying up
Yeah.
for days playing these games.
World of Warcraft, there's been a Chinese three Chinese kids that have committed suicide from staying up and playing and not eating.
Do you
and
consider it suicide if you just die because you're playing the game?
Well,
they're not
did-
dying from
did they-
playing the game. They're dying
Did they
from
kill themselves?
Not going to sleep.
Or did they die
No,
because
they
of
stayed awake and they didn't eat and they died in their apartments alone playing a fucking video game
Yeah,
with lots of other people. 'cause it's
I
on-
would say that's a accumulation of a bunch of different
Yeah.
symptoms and
definitely a failure of some sort.
some mental
So
instability.
this person stayed up for 11 days. Did they die or?
Well, he was
did they
probably
finally
he was
did they
probably
pass
eating
out?
and
Like,
doing other stuff.
what happened to him?
He's alive, or was alive. He didn't die from that.
What year was that?
1965. He could.
He's probably waiting in line for a Beatles concert.
Well, there you go, dude. No. So he would be 50. I don't know my math. I can't do the math right now, but so 11.
in the 70s.
He was 16 years old in 1965. So he
He'd
was
be
born
about
in
70-ish.
49. So he'd be about 70. So yeah, he could still
get
be
a hold
alive
of this
today.
guy.
Let's go.
But that
Damn it!
Is there a
if
phone number on
if we
that?
had done our math or done our research properly, we could have got
Do
this
your
guy.
due
Like,
due
Wait a minute.
diligence.
We've got somebody calling in.
Yeah. No, that's funny. I did not look to see if that guy was still alive, but he very well could be. But I don't know if he kept that practice up. Probably not.
Maybe that was the only time he did that.
So there is extensive research that has been done showing that people who sleep less than the recommended of 7 to 9 hours per night as an adult. The numbers vary greatly if you're a teenager or a baby or toddler or whatever. Even
cat.
elderly. Yeah. Oh, man. Shop Cat Elmer, man. That guy. He's got the most comfortable beds I can even imagine.
Professional sleeper.
He is a professional sleeper, dude. Sometimes I wish I was covered in fur so I could just like curl up everywhere and fall asleep. Watching that guy sleep is inspiring. They are almost twice as likely to suffer from a great deal, like I mentioned earlier, a great deal of ailments. Science has linked lack of sleep to, just to name a few, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, a weakened immune system, weight gain, a lack of libido, mood swings, paranoia, depression, and a higher risk of diabetes, stroke, dementia, and some cancers. So it will fuck you up. You need sleep.
Sleep needs you.
First thought I had when I was reading about this, how bad we need it, I was reminded of how I've always kind of been jealous of people who could just fall asleep anywhere they were. So I started doing a little research on that. Apparently, that's typically a sign, and we can't use super generalizations here because not every single person's body's physiology is the same, right? But in general, that's a sign of exhaustion because you're not supposed to be falling asleep when it is not appropriate to fall asleep. As I understand it, we don't usually like to get too far into sciencey stuff, mostly because it confuses me. But apparently there's a chemical called adenosine, and it builds up in the brain. And it builds up throughout the day or the week or however long you intend to deprive yourself of the regular amount of sleep and said sleep cycles that occur during that time. You build up sleep debt, which they kind of maybe jokingly call, but I did see it referenced to a number of sciencey articles online. So you actually, the longer you go without adequate sleep, you have to pay it back at some point. And we were talking about, like, I've seen Glenn do this a number of times. So tell him about your sleep pattern.
Okay, so my sleep is horrible. My pattern, I average about 4 hours of sleep a night. Sometimes I get 6, sometimes I get 2. But average is about 4 for the majority of the week. And then weekend comes along. I've got no pressing reason to be up and about. My mind kind of settles down, and I crash hard. I will sleep for 12 to 16 hours straight.
I have seen him do it. It's ridiculous. So nothing wakes him up either.
So during the week, are you going to sleep at the same time every day?
I wake up at the same time every day. I don't necessarily go to bed at the same time every day.
Same here.
But the time that my mind is rolling, I have a really hard time transitioning to sleep. I will lay in bed for 6 hours sometimes with lights off, phones off, nothing going on, I will be awake.
That's damn insomnia at that point.
Yeah.
So it's been something I've struggled with my entire life. But
Does reading make you sleepy?
no, reading keeps me up.
Well, yeah.
That would be the thing if you could actually find something that puts you to sleep.
Like a girlfriend that
I was
talks
just
in
going to say,
circles.
we just need to find you a younger woman to wear you out beforehand.
Cheers.
I'll take
No,
one of
but
those too.
I've straight up watched like physics lectures trying to go to bed.
Porn.
Like I've pulled out science books. I've done math problems.
Porn.
Yes.
So you haven't found a thing yet.
I haven't found something that's
You've gotten
consistent.
smarter and still been lacking sleep.
Right.
Maybe gotten less sleep because you find all
Maybe
these
you're
things.
getting
I will say recent. I don't know about smarter. I like to think so, but that's just an ego stroke.
Yeah, you're stroking the wrong thing, buddy.
That's why you're still awake.
Stop fighting it, man. Stop fighting it.
I did just get a new bed, and that has made it easier for me to sleep and wake up. I've
That can make
noticed
a world of difference for sure.
Totally
recently.
can. Yeah. No, I haven't. And I think that's one thing. I think Americans in general have really bad sleep, and I think it's because we've conditioned ourselves to this horrible work schedules that we have, to think that everything's so important that we got to work because somebody else is making money off of us doing that. So we're just cogs in a machine, and that's why most Americans struggle with sleep. Because they feel anxiety, depression, pressure to perform, a lot of things like that really don't matter so much, but we think that they do. So we carry them too much. Like when I try to sleep at night, being self-employed, I'm always like, my mind is always racing because I have ideas of things I want to do, things that I think I can do to maybe, make extra money in the business. If I'm struggling in the business, what can I do? So I have all these things racing, and when I'm just sitting down or laying down trying to sleep, it's like it's a fury of those emotions and thoughts that just come racing to me, and it's really hard to turn those off.
Start cataloging all those bills that you got to pay. What's coming up?
Yeah, and we're so stressed out about those things, and I think that's one of the problems that Americans have with their general health is because of we're so inundated with all this stuff that we're so pressured. We have massive anxiety, which leads to depression and all these other things, and sleep deprivation. And I don't really see a way out of it other than just sometimes you just got to say fuck it, and just turn things off. It's hard to do that. It's hard to just like relax. And for me, recently I started doing yoga, which I started doing a lot more breathing techniques. And even on the days I don't do yoga, sometimes I'll stop and take a little bit of break and do some of the breathing techniques. It's amazing how thinking cognitively about breathing can almost be a high, because when you're breathing and you're increasing the amount of oxygen in your body, it helps you feel better. It's better for your muscles, tissues, everything in general. And it, like, there's sometimes when I do some of the exercises and breathing exercises, my fingers will tingle and my feet will tingle.
Interesting.
And it's because I'm getting a larger amount of oxygen in those extremities, and I feel those more. And, they talk about like runner's high and things like that. We can get those things from exercise and meditation too. And I think that one of the things, if I could give a piece of advice to anybody who has trouble sleeping, is to try to find some way to meditate or relax and breathe, and really like train yourself to actually breathe. It's healthy, and it lets your mind kind of erase from those things. But because I think everybody's in the same boat in America. We try to sleep, we lay down, and there's so many things that come rushing to our brain, like, we got to do this tomorrow, we got to do that tomorrow, I got to do this, oh, I forgot to do this today. And it's like so much pressure and anxiety in our lifestyle and our culture that is really unnecessary.
That's some fantastic advice. I've been through some amount of training with massage therapy and meditation, and the relaxing of your body is the health benefits are phenomenal.
Dude, I felt like such a doofus when I was like the first few times of doing yoga, and the first 10 minutes of our class was breathing. And I was like, what? Okay. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it reminded me of conversations I've had with friends who are athletes or runners. They talk about like a runner's high or something. And I never understood that until then.
One other thing when you're laying down and trying to make your brain quiet that I've found personally helps is to get up and get a piece of paper and write down everything that you are thinking about. I've got bills on here. Okay, write it down. And it's a way for me personally that I've found to process that information in a way that puts it in a list that says, okay, I can deal with this later. The thought has been thunk. It is now ready to be processed at a later point.
You're getting it out of your mind, and it's on something that you can focus on later, or
right. And then go into that meditation.
This seems like another weird thing around sleep, though, because I've heard people talk about writing down things, all the things they did right before they go to sleep, if they were to remember their dreams. So, this writing things down, it's weird how doing something like that can impact your mind in such a way that
Free yourself of it, so to speak.
Free yourself of it, or make some kind of weird connection that then carries on into your subconscious, so that it carries on into your sleep.
Well, that phrase, go sleep on it.
Yeah.
It's because your brain will actually make new connections. We learn, we process information, and we come up with ideas while we sleep. And part of that, going through that list of these things and organizing your thoughts in a way, allows you to better do that when you are unconscious. But also with the writing, if you write down immediately when you wake up, if you write down your dreams, you'll become more cognitive and aware of them.
It's almost like you're making some kind of segue into sleeping and out of sleeping. And we were talking about sleep paralysis a little bit, which is one of those things where you become conscious, but your body still thinks it's sleeping. There's like weird things where there's crossovers where you're in a in-between state.
Right.
Where some things of sleep are present and other things aren't, and weird things are happening. And it kind of, I was reminded of it when you were talking about seeing, your body trying to do sleep stuff while you're conscious because you haven't had enough sleep.
Right.
And there's just like weird half on, half off parts that you can experience.
For sure. That sleep paralysis thing is a trip.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have experienced it. Very, very surreal, sort of dreamlike entry to it. Like I laid down to go to bed, and then I was still laying on my bed and aware of it, but I couldn't move. My body felt heavy. I thought there was like something there like sitting on me, which then I realized that I couldn't, and it kind of tricked like a little panic attack sort of deal. Like, I can't move. I'm panic, something's wrong. And then it's like, oh, I forget how I made the transition, but I felt my body start to go into a REM cycle, and I felt this like electric wave pulse from like the base of my spine cord at the back of my head and roll through to the front of my skull. And it was this like electric zip pulse thing that I could both hear and feel. And it sped up, it would pulse, and continue to pulse. And once it got to almost constant, I passed out.
Dude, I think you were getting abducted by an
So you were
alien.
going to sleep.
It happened.
I have never experienced that. I've only experienced the sleep paralysis waking up the
Okay.
next day. And so it was an opposite type thing. And I woke up and I just can't move. And sometimes I was in a dream where I was like being smothered or something like that. And when I woke up, I was like face down on a pillow or something like that. So like I feel like I'm being
You were
smothered.
self-smothering.
Right? Yeah. But now I can't move. So now, like you were saying, the anxiety is like you're freaking out. It's like, oh, am I going to suffocate myself? Which clearly I'm not, because otherwise I probably would have already been dead.
Right.
But I'm freaking out about it because I can't move out of that position. But yeah, each time, eventually I started to realize what it was, and I would just relax and know that I was going to eventually be able to move. But it is kind of, when you don't know what's going on, it's fucking
Hell yeah.
scary.
Yep.
Yeah.
Panic, right?
Yeah.
Panicking is a lot of times a initial response to things and always makes it worse.
Well, yeah, but I really like the what you were saying earlier, Glenn, about like, when you're in that mode and you can't go to sleep and you got like 600 things rattling through your brain, getting up and writing some of those down. I feel like for me, if I could do that, it would almost be like, okay, I know I need to worry about this. I'm going to write it down so I can deal with it tomorrow.
Right.
It's like a way of like a conclusion so that you can get off of that and walk away from it and lessen the stress or the anxiety so that you can just focus on sleeping. And that's the thing about meditation and the breathing for me that's really been super cool is like when you get in that mode and you really start to do that, you do kind of let everything go and you do feel rested. And it's like a recharging feeling, and that's something that we're not getting in sleep at all because of all these crazy different things we're dealing with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's continue going through some options we have to sleep assist in life, because I actually did have a kind of a list of things that I had found when I was just doing some research on this, and I thought, I see what how you guys weigh in on some of these.
Get drunk.
Well, we'll get to that one. So let's start off with pharmaceuticals.
Don't do it.
Let's do it. Let's start out with the pharmaceuticals.
Do it.
Dude, I have heard more warnings with pharmaceuticals of sleep aids of all kinds that
they're
they
terrible.
become addictive if you use them regularly.
Dude, just take some roofies.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of different options, and it's gotten
Does it smell like chloroform?
Some of the most common ones, like for example, drinking NyQuil, got so popular that NyQuil Vicks made a version of NyQuil, which is sleep cool or something, Z-Quil or something like that.
They just put a different label on the same
well,
thing.
it's the same. Well, it looks like NyQuil in the bottle or whatever, and the logo kind of looks the same, but it's something else. I can't remember what it is now.
Yeah, but it doesn't
Z-Quil or-
taste the same.
Why, do you like the taste?
Oh, hell yeah,
Hate
dude.
the Dude, when I was a kid, I remember that green one was like the most disgusting thing I'd ever
God.
tasted.
Oh.
Now I
It
like
was
it.
like
It's-
milk of magnesia.
Now I like it,
Right.
dude. I couldn't believe it. I
Put on salads.
Conditioned to some weird chemical crap that we
No, it
just...
tastes like a shot, dude.
that's what it is.
It tastes like some sort of.
You just acquired a
flavored
taste for
shot.
alcohol.
That's what it is. Yeah. So now I shoot that. I'm like, damn, it's kind of good. But the cherry kind of still disgusting. Leads us to our next one: alcohol and THC, or better known as weed.
Cannabis.
Yeah, both of those will help you fall asleep, but will keep you from achieving REM sleep.
Right.
Which is the most important part of our sleep. It's the deep sleep.
Right. So that's why people that smoke a lot of cannabis do not dream as frequently. It's because it's suppressing their REM sleep cycles.
Yep. And I've tried both of these to try and get to sleep. And sure, I'll conk the hell out, but I never feel that rested in the morning. Or I'll wake up late at night when it kind of wears off or whatever.
Wake up
And you
to
get
go
the munchies.
throw up.
Well, damn, I mean, I wasn't talking about drinking that much, but okay.
Oh, well, you see me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's... Glenn can't handle his liquor.
Oh, man. 6 beers kicked my ass, man.
Well, to be fair, those were like 12% craft. Very good craft double and triple IPAs. I mean, yeah.
Hey, man, they tasted fantastic.
I can't even believe we ate dinner. That we were just in Portland last weekend and for about 5 days. And it was amazing. There's a glass blowing event we hit up there every year, and our favorite part of Portland is going around eating the food and going to all the breweries because they're like on every damn corner,
fantastic.
and they're amazing. And if you haven't visited Portland, depending on where you're from, if you're from California, go visit Portland, because where we go in our cities and go have craft beers and you're paying $10, $12 a pour, yeah, we didn't pay more than $6 for a 12-ounce pour anywhere. We're buying, I was joking with this. I know this is totally off topic, but it is a drug used for sleep by some people. If you live in California, you go to your local supermarket and you find some craft beer in a 22-ounce bottle, a glass bottle, the end cap of some refrigerator down the aisle or whatever. You're looking at those, and those are like, oh, wow, look at this double or triple IPA that's 9%, 10%, great. And it's how much? Oh, it's $12. Oh, man. We were buying those type of beers from their local 7-Elevens, Plaid Pantry.
Yep.
From their 7-Elevens for $4.60 out the door. 22-ounce craft beer, double IPA, glass
I think
bottle.
I know why the homeless population is so high there now.
That makes a lot of sense.
Speaking of that, too, because we got to add to this now, too. One of the interesting things we noticed with the homeless out there, and I had seen it before, too. If you've ever been to Portland, you might have caught these, too. They have these, like, vending machine-looking things that are outside of convenience stores, like 7-Eleven supermarkets, sometimes gas stations if there's enough space, where you take your bottles and you put them in the hole. Sometimes you have to scan them first in the
Recycling?
machine.
Oh, yeah, the recycling things.
And it drops
awesome.
you money right there. So the homeless don't have to go to a recycling center. They don't have to panhandle. They just go and collect recyclable goods, walk right up there, get their money.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We were, Thomas had mentioned the jump bikes, seeing the homeless
Yes.
people riding on
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And you can work for them as well, taking the bikes back
Yeah, you
to
get
charge
credits.
and things like that.
Yeah, it's
And
interesting.
so they actually, things are opening up to, they can somewhat be homeless and earn something.
Yeah, I was just talking to Joe about this, actually, and I forgot that to set up a jump bike account, you have to have a credit card. So they have credit cards and phones.
Well, they have phone in California. They have free phones.
We have the richest homeless people in the world.
I know.
Anyway, that's another topic. We have another episode on that if you guys are interested in the homelessness situation. I had a lot of stats on that, but let's continue going down this line. Working out. If the body isn't physically tired, and it can feel anxious or unsettled at the end of the day and not want to sleep. This has been a big one for
Wait,
me.
you mean we need to move?
I mean, a majority of us have desk jobs where we just sit there and barely move the whole day. I try and get up and walk and move around as much as possible. And I love
Sucker.
soccer.
Sucker.
So
Sucker. I mean,
Hey,
I had
Hazel.
you had these chairs. I didn't even have to use my legs.
what are you doing, man?
Why do I even have legs?
I don't know, because they won't hook me up to the Matrix.
We need the Wally chairs that just float around. And
Right.
Wally's our future.
it is.
Hydration is another one. I can't tell you, with or without alcohol in my system, I can't tell you how many nights I ate a salty-ass dinner or some shit. I wake up in the middle of the night, like, hot and thirsty because you didn't drink some water before you went to bed. Now, I know the converse of that is you drink water, you have to wake up and pee, but
Not necessarily.
not necessarily all the time. Sometimes you make it through the night without having to pee. It depends on how much water
And if you do it, like I drink water first thing in the morning and right before I go to bed at night.
Yep.
And I drink like a half a cup. I don't drink a lot.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
I just get a little
Yep.
bit of, and the thing about the water, especially before you go to sleep at night, the reason drinking a little bit of water before you go to sleep at night is so important is because your body is trying to rejuvenate cells.
Yep.
And so if you have water in there, it helps regenerate muscle tissue.
Yep.
And so as you're sleeping, your body is regenerating and rebuilding muscle tissue. So if you have water and moisture and you're hydrated, that accelerates that option.
Yep. I haven't looked into if there's any science behind it, but I have noticed that when I don't have enough water and I'm asleep, I will get hot and I will wake up like way too hot. And I know it's not the temperature in the house because I have my thermostat set the same every night, during the summer, let's say, for example. And if I get up, drink a glass of water, 10, 15 minutes later, I feel cooler again. I go back to sleep and I don't have a problem with it. So I know it has to have something to do with the thermal regulation.
Right, yeah,
body.
regulating
don't-
your body temperature.
Yes, I haven't looked into the science behind it, but there's got to be something there because it has happened to me many times. Let's see. And this one it might be obvious, but I mean, you can't stress this one enough. We already mentioned it a little bit earlier, but any buzzing noises or any lighting, even if your alarm clock is one of my alarm clocks is this color display. I put a freaking washcloth over it every night because the damn thing is a blue display that
that's
shows
the
up.
worst.
That's the worst, right? And it's not right in front of my face and it's not crazy bright. It dims down, but nevertheless, just that little bit, man. So especially blue or white. Anything that's an LED, red and yellow LEDs aren't as bad, but blue and white are the absolute worst. A TV in your room. Some
Don't
people,
do it.
Yeah, some people like to fall asleep to a TV. I guess if you're one of those people that can fall asleep to that or with that on,
If you have to distract yourself to sleep.
yeah, some people, or white noise or music going. Some people do that. I've never been able to do that. But
Yeah, some people.
Music's something that I do.
Yeah,
really?
music too. My brother is like he can't sleep unless there's a fan going.
I can sleep with fans.
White noise.
Yeah,
like white
I can sleep with
noise.
fans. My dad falls asleep to podcasts. Like, damn.
Probably sleeps to this one.
Are you
Sleeping right now.
Are you falling asleep to ours?
I don't know what
Say
you guys.
goodnight to him.
Rob Zombie's my bedtime music.
Yeah, Glenn listens
It
to
has
death
like, yeah, I
metal,
listened to
dude.
the first 2 minutes of your podcast and I was out.
Hey, man, the fat dancer doesn't put nobody to sleep. She says, get up and move, boy. Temperature is another big one. A lot of people don't realize.
It's got to be like 60 degrees.
The ideal sleeping temperature for humans is 67 degrees Fahrenheit. 67 degrees. That is, I don't know about everybody else, but I actually asked people about this. So this my coworkers here in California or whatever. What do you guys set your thermostats at in the summertime? So here in Sacramento, we will have plenty of triple-digit days. And during the summer and during the heat of the summer for about 3 months, I don't really think we get below 90 most of the time.
No.
For the most part, we're high 90s up to, the worst would be like
110,
108, 110,
yeah.
something like that.
We've hit 112 before.
Yeah, so it gets nasty out here. I hate Sacramento in the summertime, like thoroughly, deeply. But at home, I have discovered that I cannot fall asleep and stay asleep at anything higher than 78 degrees. If I go to 79, I swear, and that's with the fan on me too. I swear, if I set that damn thermostat to 79, I wake up in the middle of the night hot. If I set it to 77, it's nice. It's great. Anything below 78, I'm great.
Well, I can tell you plenty of stories growing up in the Midwest where it's humid, not having air conditioning, and you're naked in the bed with all your arms and legs spread out, just trying to cool off,
Sweating.
so you can pass off, and you're just sweating the whole time. It's a miserable, horrible state.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Terrible.
yeah,
That sounds fun.
So having a good temperature, having something that's regulated so that you can sleep, and I think all of us probably sleep a little bit better when it is a little cooler.
Yes.
In general.
Yeah.
I have no problem sleeping, so I can sleep in warm weather with lights
Really?
on. I've passed out the TV many times. I don't need it to
Wow.
but I've just fallen asleep watching TV often. I have passed out to blaring music, with headphones on.
Hell yeah.
So
Have you been this way your whole life?
yeah, for the most
Wow.
part, I've slept really well.
You're
But
lucky.
yeah, it's just one of those.
Was it different when you had like more of the corporate jobs? Because you've had a couple like what we would consider more professional
Well,
jobs,
white-collar jobs,
white
right?
collar
White-collar
jobs. Was it any different during those times of your life?
Not really. You guys have talked about having stuff on your mind, and so I've experienced that occasionally. So like I know that exists. I know how that feels, and I've been through that. And we're talking about temperature now. So generally speaking, I sleep really well. What I have noticed when it's cold, and I hate cold weather, because I'll
really?
bundle
I
up.
love
I
it.
hate
Love
cold
it.
weather,
Love
but I noticed that my sinuses are open, and I breathe much better
In cold weather.
And so I think that has
Yeah.
a big thing to do with it.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of people have problems with breathing when they're sleeping.
It also
and
causes snoring.
It causes all kinds
Yeah,
of
there's all
problems.
kinds of messed up stuff. Yep.
I'll tell you what, when I was living up in Oregon, one of the best night's sleep I had, I woke up and it was 18 degrees in my house.
What?
Oh, it
Well,
was,
that's
I
because
was,
you were
have to
almost
know-
dead.
No, you have to know Glenn. Glenn is like a freaking bear, dude. This guy runs so hot. It'll be in the middle of winter, and he's out there in a damn t-shirt, out hanging out with
Sandals,
us. See, yeah,
shorts.
he's just one of those people that doesn't really he runs
shorts,
hot.
shorts and sandals and a t-shirt in the snow. Straight up.
Nice. You should move to Indiana.
Yeah, this was high desert.
Wow.
It was, I think we got to like a low of -17 that year.
I mean, you were almost frozen to death.
Yeah, so it
that's
was-
why you slept so well.
It was,
because
dude,
you were
awesome.
almost dead.
I mean, it sucked when I had to get out of bed when my alarm went off and I woke up and I was like, oh, I didn't want to get out of bed, but
Wow.
it was cozy.
But yeah, like sleeping in the heat like that and the humidity. For me, when I sleep, I want to have some sort of at least a thin blanket or sheet.
I like
on.
a sheet on me. Yeah, I mean,
And
I
s-
can sleep without it, but I prefer.
But I
sheet.
prefer that. And when it's hot and you can't do that because you're
Nope.
just like kicking things off, you're like, oh my god. But yeah, it just reminds me of growing up in the Midwest and just like the humidity and just like
Have you
horrible, miserable sleep.
Have you seen those new? They're being advertised on social media everywhere. Those mattress toppers and/or mattresses that basically have a blower in them that vents through under your bed, under your.
Wow.
So
Sounds
interesting.
awesome.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Then I was sitting there thinking about, dude, you know how much shit crawls around under your bed, when you're sleeping. I was like, can you
yeah.
imagine this thing sucking up spiders and shoving them under your bed,
Shoving them up.
under your blankets, dude?
Dude, you know how many spiders you eat every
Hell
year?
yeah, dude. Like, but you wake up in the middle of the morning, you got all these fucking bugs. under your
You
I don't
need
think it
that-
works quite
You need
like
that
that.
protein to sleep.
No,
man.
and yeah,
Oh, right.
and it has a filter on it too, I think. But whatever. But yeah, it looks like one of those little tiny portable heaters. Like maybe 18 inches high, a foot wide, or whatever. And it has a little tube, a little flexible ducting tube that goes up into the mattress. And then the ones that are a pad, it opens up wider and it just blows, blows air in there. Like, that's freaking cool.
Wow.
I woke up once and discovered that ants are spicy.
Nice. I've heard that actually. So, peppery. They taste
Yeah,
like pepper.
they
Yeah, I've
they
heard
taste
that.
like pepper.
I knew a kid when I was young used to eat them, and he was like, "Dude, what the hell does that taste like? Like pepper?" I'm like, well, that's. Okay.
I'll remember that when I'm out of pepper.
Yeah.
There are people who grind them up and use them as pepper. Actually, the only problem is where's that ant been? What else are you eating from what it's picking up? That's
who
the
cares?
clean your ants first.
Clean off. Yes. Clean your ants.
Well, you always want to wash your food.
Clean your ants first. I wanted to add something to you guys. Made me think about it. I forgot to mention earlier. You guys were talking about like things running through your head and keeping you awake. I've had that problem my whole life too. But really interesting. I remember talking to people I was going to school with when I was in college. We would, you stay up late studying, cramming for an exam, or just doing homework or whatever. When you finally get home and get a chance to do it, when you get home. And the craziest thing, and it would happen to my other buddies who were in school too, or whatever. You'd fall asleep thinking about some like fucking no joke page-long calculus problem. I mean, some of these problems are like multiple pages. It's crazy, and you get stuck, and you're like, shit, I don't know what to do. Literally going to sleep and waking up, 3-4 hours later with a solution and something. You're like, what the fuck, dude? I solved
Sleep
this.
on it.
Yeah, I figured out this next step while I was asleep. I wasn't even aware I was thinking about it, right? But yeah, that happened on way more
because
than one
you weren't
occasion.
visually stimulated or distracted, and
Yeah.
your mind could rest. When I was younger, the first when I was working at motorcycle shops, it was kind of a stressful job because there was just a lot of stupidity involved with it, and I would wake up a lot in the middle of the night trying to solve a problem that I was trying to solve that day at work.
Yep, how to fix something, right?
How to fix something,
troubleshooting or something.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
same here.
or something that perplexed me during the day.
Oh, well, I didn't try that.
And I would wake up and I'm like, I'm either like thinking about it again, or it's driving me crazy, or maybe I have a solution or something. But you carry that into your subconscious,
Yeah.
and that's an unhealthy thing that all of us do. And I think if we could, it's hard to separate those things because, like, again, we're in this culture and society that we have, especially in Americans, the Western culture, where we're so go, 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 you got to do this, you got, constantly have to make money, constantly have to do this, that we're so stressed out and so, our anxiety levels are so high that I feel like everybody has a little bit of a sleep deprivation issue going on.
Yeah, definitely. So I feel like too, especially if you're in a higher density area, more than likely
Right.
it just comes with being like, I don't know, maybe it's because we're surrounded by more. Who knows what the hell it is?
Yeah.
But if you live in a
More
higher
stimulation.
yeah, and it's just the likelihood that if you live in those areas, you're probably going to have a busier type job with more people and more white collars where you're not moving anywhere as much during the day or whatever.
You got more stuff to deal with.
Yeah, more. Yeah,
In
exactly.
a day, I mean, a high density area. I mean, when I lived in Venice, sometimes I'd come home from work and it'd take me an hour and a half to find a parking spot. You know what I mean?
Yes, that kind of shit. Will
That
stress
kind of
you
shit.
out.
It'll drive you crazy and it stresses you out. And it's like, unfortunately, we are building ourselves to a point with our culture that those are norms.
Oh yeah.
And it's extremely unhealthy to live in those norms, but we're sacrificing so much of our health because we think there's a benefit to dealing with all of these
Hey man,
things.
I gotta get that new.
Are you trying to tell me there's not a reason to rush?
Yeah. I gotta get
More
that.
than being a norm,
I-
it's almost expected.
It's
like
expected.
people think
Expected,
that they're slacking if you're not
Yes.
doing
You're
that.
lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few years ago, I made this conscious decision in my life that I was never going to hurry for anyone again, including myself.
Nice.
And if I'm late for something, it's just because that's what happened.
Sorry.
Did you say that like Gandalf, dude? Thomas arrives precisely when he means to arrive.
Exactly. It's like I see people driving all the time. You see, and I like driving into work, driving into my shop today. This idiot in this Honda was just ramping around the side, going around trying to pass everybody, and all
Hey,
that. And
hey,
I'm watching him.
Hey, you're an idiot in a Honda now, by the way.
Well, I'm not driving like this guy, but he's driving, bouncing around all this stuff, and I'm doing, I'm just cruising with traffic and keeping
Yeah.
myself a safe barrier. And I'm watching this guy almost run into 9 different people, and every time we stop at a red light, I'm either in front of him
Yeah.
or beside him.
Either way, you watched him the whole way because it got him nowhere.
Yeah,
Right.
And
That
I'm
happens to me every day.
And
I'm
like,
like-
look at the stress level that you're
Yes.
putting on yourself by doing
He
that.
probably doesn't even know.
He
Well, and
doesn't even
also
know. He's not
you're
even conscious of it.
endangering the lives of everybody
And he
around you
doesn't
when
care
you're being
about
like
And
that.
he doesn't care.
And
yeah.
risking
He doesn't care about
spending
either.
a whole hell of a
But-
lot more time because he had an accident or a ticket.
got pulled over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But we've been, we've talked about this before. We've been trained and conditioned to
be in a
act
hurry.
like this, to be in a hurry, to be on this go, 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 go thing. And that is a direct effect to our sleep and our rest for our better health.
Spreads out to the rest of your way you live your life.
Yeah. We gotta relax, people. We gotta not be in such a hurry.
Chill the
You
fuck
can't-
out.
Being number 2 in line is not that much better than being number 3 in line
Or number one for that.
or
for that
number
matter.
1.
Okay.
Gotta be number one. Gotta be first.
I got some more here. Maintain a regular sleeping schedule. And this one bugs the hell out of me because
But it's a really healthy thing to do.
super important.
I
And
don't
I'm
do it
good
at
during
all.
the week. And then the minute Friday night comes and we want to go hang out, we're up till 2 in the morning. Then Saturday night comes, 3 in the morning. Then what? I'm supposed to go back to my 5 a.m. waking up and getting, messes me
So-
up every damn week.
I set a standard wake up time, regardless whether it's weekend, how late I stay up. I'm up by 6 every day, and my body will tell me you need to get some sleep. So then I go lay down and stay awake for 3 more hours. But
But
you
you
know,
try. At least
but I
you got-
tried.
At least you have half of that.
But at least you have the
candle up.
schedule, yeah.
Yeah.
but try to keep that rhythm rolling.
Yeah, and okay, so then there's another aspect to that. Avoid using the snooze button. When you hit the snooze button, you go back to a sleep if you're lucky, but you are not getting back into the deep restful sleep, and you're really just making it worse for yourself.
You're making it harder.
Yeah, roll out of bed or just leave the alarm on until you're so annoyed that you get out of bed. But hitting that snooze, this is something I've always never done in my life. I'd never mess with a snooze button. In fact, my alarm doesn't even have a snooze button. It just plays music until it goes or whatever, until I get up and turn it off. But yeah, don't do that because that doesn't, you're not getting actual restful sleep even if it feels good for a few seconds.
It's little more. Yeah, I think it's more self-gratifying.
I think that's
like
what it
you're
is.
winning somehow.
Yeah, like fuck this. I'm not getting up.
I've learned to turn the alarm off while I'm sleeping.
I've done that.
That's dangerous because then you're really going to go back to sleep and you'll wake up.
You're
an
not
hour
going to
later.
wake up.
Yep.
Your body's just saying, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not waking up.
Pretty much. Naps can be healthy as long as you can figure out how to keep yourself out of entering REM sleep. Because the minute you enter that last stage of sleep in the cycle, it, so to speak, really does ruin your appetite for sleep later. Kind of like snacking before dinner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked. When Glenn mentioned earlier about the siesta, a lot of the Southern American cultures believe in siesta because your body needs to process food, and it's not healthy to just get up and try to run and move and do things. And a lot of the cultures that do siestas do have a better sleep cycle.
I think that also depends on, too, what kind of food, because you mentioned after they eat, what kind of foods they're eating. Here, the kind of shit we eat, you're not supposed to be going to sleep after you eat that stuff.
Most of our Americans don't eat real food, so
it makes you fat going to sleep after you eat, or eat late at night and then going to sleep. You're not supposed to be doing that.
Well, yeah, but if you're going to go in that direction, probably the better thing you can do is fast for 12 hours a day. That's the healthiest way to eat. A lot of people who really talk
I
about...
thought it was just eating little bits throughout the day.
Well, that's good too. You don't want to have giant meals. You want to have like 5 or 6 small meals during the day, which is what I do.
Yeah.
But also another really healthy thing for you to do is not eat for 12 hours of the day. And over the last 10 years of me being cautious about like nutrition and I worked with a nutritionist when I was younger, and there's a lot of people who believe that fasting for 12 hours a day is a much healthier way to digest food.
I get like ravenously hungry after that, though.
Yeah,
I
it
can't
seems
sleep
like
if I'm hungry.
I can sometimes, but it's hard.
It's tough to sleep when I'm hungry.
the constant fast and then not. It just seems like that'd be stressful to the.
Well, it's not a constant thing. It's like you work out a schedule where you wake up and you have breakfast. Between the time you have breakfast and you have dinner shouldn't really be more than 12 hours anyway. If you're eating breakfast at 7 o'clock in the morning, you shouldn't be eating dinner later than 7 o'clock at night.
Right.
Because
How
you
about
really
if I do my
shouldn't.
fasting like from like 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. like while I'm asleep?
Well, that's okay too. But if you do it on
That's what I
if
do.
you do it on a regular cycle,
Yeah.
that it's healthier for your body.
Some people don't eat breakfast, so that would be
Yeah, I don't eat
probably
breakfast
12
at all.
hours. Yeah.
I have to eat something because I usually don't eat after like 7 p.m. at the latest
That's
during
good.
the week, and then I don't eat until like 9 a.m. the next day or to 8 a.m.
yeah,
the
So
you're
next
that's
day.
definitely
12
hungry.
hours. So
Yeah,
you
so I
do-
mean, I do that, but I
See?
well, there you go. All right,
Yeah.
didn't even know I was doing that.
Right? Didn't
wouldn't
even know you were being healthy.
I don't even. Yeah, I don't know if I call myself healthy, but that's how my life.
Well, you're not waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning having donuts, are you?
No, I have never that I can recall. Well, I shouldn't say
wake
never.
up for a midnight trip.
Yeah,
to
I don't.
Krispy
I don't
Kreme.
eat midnight
Oh my God.
snacks. No. I
Depends on how you fell asleep. like in a drunken stupor.
When I was a teenager, I'd wake up and eat cereal,
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
because I loved cereal. But no, I don't ever wake up in the middle of the night and eat.
Yeah,
Being a
drinking-
teenager doesn't count.
No, I know, right? You get superpowers when you're a teenager. If only they would have told me those superpowers doesn't last past like mid-20s.
Right.
Sucks.
Drinking a whole cup of milk at 2 o'clock in the morning with your cereal is not healthy.
I used to drink so much milk.
You
Milk was like the most amazing thing in the world to me.
gross
I loved
cow
it.
udder juice.
I'm with you. I don't drink milk at all.
I have not touched dairy since I was
Bullshit. You just ate pizza. Or
okay. I haven't had milk,
Milk,
in,
okay.
in its.
Neither
I
have I.
have had cheese
Yeah.
and yogurt,
You
so
know
that
we
is
get-
dairy.
And I know you get down with some whipped cream.
Oh, gross.
What? You don't put whipped cream on any of them foo-foo drinks you get?
No,
Foo-foo
Like your
drinks.
bean juice?
cream's gross.
Really?
I don't like it.
Just to whip it?
Yeah, pretty much.
just,
The hippie crack, man.
just the gas off the top. That's all. Just
It's all about
a
the
little
hippie
off
crack.
the top.
No, but I stopped drinking milk right around the time I graduated high school.
That was an extremely smart thing to do.
I stopped because I got allergic.
I have
I'm
never been a fan of milk.
No, it's,
I love
My
It's-
brother was he was allergic to milk.
I'm allergic, yeah.
And,
Lactose
but
intolerant?
he
No, there's a
fucking-
difference.
okay.
He loved it. He couldn't stop drinking it,
Yep.
but it was
They took
bad
it
for
from
him.
so that's why they took it from me, because I loved it so much.
Wow.
Crazy. So wow. So people that can't have it can't stop drinking it.
It tastes gross now too to me. It's so nasty.
It's pretty
know,
nasty.
it's
We're
so
really
nasty.
not supposed
We
to
are
do that.
not supposed to
No,
consume
yes.
milk
Yeah.
past
that's why
infancy.
that's why so many people
It's-
are lactose intolerant
well,
by nature.
It's
Right.
so being lactose intolerant is the natural order of human beings.
Yes.
Being able to process lactose later in life is actually a genetic mutation.
On top of it, we shouldn't be drinking any cow's milk ever.
No.
for any
Animal's
reason.
milk.
No, that's gross.
I'm a fan of just breast milk.
Yeah,
was-
I'll stick to
Just
that.
say, what was that Dave Chappelle episode? He wanted pure Cambodian breast milk. He said, "Go out and get me some pure Cambodian breast milk." Yeah,
I'll take it straight from the tip.
yeah, right. You guys are nasty. And yet again, we find another reason for the female listeners to
Hate us.
hang up.
I'm sorry.
Only the cows.
Whoa,
I think all the smart women know how stupid men are anyway.
Pretty much.
we're just proving it for him.
Right.
Nice. Okay, here's another suggestion that I was reading about too. If you can't fall asleep within 15 minutes or so of trying, assuming you have distractions removed and whatever, assuming you set and setting is proper, you can't fall asleep within 15 minutes. Get up, stay in some dim lighting, preferably a warm temperature lighting. That way, we were talking about that yellow light, no white LED lighting or blue lights or anything fancy like that. Your plain old yellow incandescent 3,000 to 3,300 Kelvin bulb is
Light
around,
a candle.
is about good. It could be a candle, yeah, as long as it's not a smelly kind, because some of those smells can induce things or whatever.
Just standard,
Like sleep?
Standard
and,
wax.
and do something mindless. One of the examples I found that I thought was a great idea is fold laundry. There is nothing I hate more than and find so boring as folding laundry.
Really? I kind of like it. It's
I-
fun.
you know what's funny? When I first moved out, got my own place, I used to keep up on the laundry and folding all the time.
It smells good and it's warm.
Well, see, I don't use the smelly stuff because I don't like the chemicals.
No, I don't
from
use
it.
fragrance in
How do
my...
you smell? How's it smell good?
Because it's fresh, it's clean.
It's clean.
If you use non-scented soap, it doesn't smell like anything.
Exactly.
smell like your
It
ass?
smells clean. Exactly.
Exactly.
It doesn't smell like BO and ass.
It's warm and cozy and it
Well,
doesn't
that's assuming-
smell like armpits. So it smells good.
All right, fair game. I like
So
it.
you're the guy though that couldn't find anything that you find boring. You
I'm-
everything or made you want to sleep. So you could probably be doing your taxes.
Dude,
You should be doing stuff that's helpful to you.
right.
Start a second business.
Shit.
I'm open from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m.
My get to sleep business. That's funny. Another thing to check out too, if you're curious about more cycle related and possibly, I guess, suggestive ways to live your life around a healthier sleep experience. I can't think of a word for that. So check out the circadian clock. I don't know much about this, and I didn't get a chance to research too far into it. But if you Google circadian, CIRCADIAN, clock, you will see diagrams and I'm sure a whole lot of stuff written about it because it's very old, that suggest a regular 24-hour daily cycle that includes the light coming up outside and the rotation of the earth and your regular eating and bowel movements and stuff like that. And it offers a pretty unique, well, I mean, I don't even know if I want to say unique. It offers a suggestive way to live your life, incorporating healthy patterns, including sleep patterns. So if you're bored, check that one out. You might like it. Other than that, do you guys have anything else you wanted to cover?
Yeah, I wanted to read something real quick as a sort of ending to this because I thought about it earlier. So these are lyrics to a song by a great band, and it's kind of about sleep. And I've always, when we thought about sleep, when we were talking about this subject, this song kept rolling through my brain. I thought it was kind of funny. So I just want to read something real quick, and it kind of goes to sleep, and it's funny, and I don't know, maybe you'll get a kick out of it. So here goes. When you sleep, where do your fingers go? What do your fingers know? What do your fingers show? Where do your fingers go? Do they tremble on the edge of your bed? Do you fold them neatly by your head? Do they clench like claws against your own skin when you're living your day all over again? Do they play guitar in a Latin bar? Are they strangers or lovers? Do they drive your car? Are they swimming submissively? Sex acts of life, or just cutting through jello with a very sharp knife? Are they pulling out weeds from the dusty soil, but then never rewarded for the fruits of their toil? Are they scratching their nails on the chalkboards of death, only seeking attention when everyone in the room has left? Do they tremble on the edge of your bed, or do you fold them neatly by your head?
Dude, that sounds like a Shel Silverstein poem. I like it.
I dig it.
That was awesome.
Now I've got to think about my fingers.
You're going to think about
When
that
you
instead
sleep.
of sleeping tonight.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'll be up to 6 a.m. and checking out my fingers and trying to figure
Just
out what they're up
remember
to.
to also think about breathing, in which case you may actually eventually go to sleep.
All right. But what if my fingers start like going through my breath cycles?
He said that his
Right.
tingle. So
Oh,
When
all
you-
right.
But when you sleep, Glenn, where do your fingers go?
All right, guys. We hope you found that interesting and you enjoyed that. And until next time, sleep well. Show notes and other info can be found at our website, greatdistraction.com. The Great Distraction is listed in iTunes, and we greatly appreciate it when our listeners take the time to look us up and leave us a 5-star rating and review. That helps our show grow and motivates us to continue producing content. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can do so using the email address, greatdistractionpodcast@gmail.com, or via our website. We're always interested in hearing any thoughts, comments, or questions from our listeners. Keeping up on the latest from us can be done in several different ways. You can add us to your favorite RSS feed tracker. The link is available on our website or in iTunes, or you can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Great Distraction, one word, no space. As always, thank you for listening, and thank you for all the support.